My name is Brian Hawkins with Tiny House Movement, and I've been building tiny homes and manufacturing tiny homes and shipping container homes for the last 6 years. My background really wasn't even in construction itself, but I was helping a brother-in-law of mine who was building a tiny home, and he needed a little help. So after finding out that there weren't anywhere near enough builders across the country, we both decided to get crazy and scared the heck out of our wives and quit our jobs and build tiny homes full time. There's kind of two different versions of the tiny house community. Most of them are people that are 20 to 25, right? That are just getting out of college, don't know what they really want to do yet for a living, that just want a place to live, and they want an option to be able to travel. They want to experience more as opposed to spending $300,000 to $400,000 on their mortgage. And then you have the other end of the spectrum with your baby boomers, people that are typically 65 to 70 that are retiring, don't want the yard, don't want the maintenance of a big house anymore, and they also just want to travel, whether it's to see their family or places they've just never been before or had time to. And they want a small place to call home, just a place to lay their head at night. There's not a whole lot with people in my stage of life, right, that have 3 or 4 or 5 kids that, it's really tough to fit that into 300 or 400 square feet. So it's usually opposite ends of the spectrum for that. But the demand is insane. I would assume because affordable housing is such an issue. So my role really is just trying to help people get where they want to go. Most people don't even know where to start, what questions to ask, who to use as a builder, where they're located, how it needs to be built, what code. There's a million different questions. So I really want to just help people understand how to get started on that path, then decide what budget fits for you so you can look into what loans are available for you at that price point. I have 4 kids, so my wife and I that live here and our 4 kids, and we wanted to finish the basement here, which is about 1,000 square feet. And I had someone that was helping me in building tiny homes, somebody that I knew and trusted. So we had an arrangement that I was going to pay him to obviously help finish the basement for me because I didn't have time to do it. So about a month into that project, he basically disappeared and disappeared from work as well. It started off with, I'll come back, I'll be back in a couple of days, or I'm just getting materials, or this is taking longer than it should. And then after a week or so, I finally realized that I'm never gonna see this guy again. That's never gonna happen. So money was gone. After going through that process and just being all kinds of upset about basically wasting my money on that, I reached out to Mountain America Credit Union to see if they had a way that I could go through that. I wasn't familiar with home equity lines of credit. I had no idea what I was doing, but I reached out to them to find out what I needed to do and if there was an option for that. So I walked into my local branch in American Fork, and we went through that entire process of everything that I would need as far as paperwork I needed to turn in. I was in a good position with the home itself to have enough equity that it wasn't an issue. So they walked me through that. It was all done within probably 2.5 weeks, which was fantastic for me. I assumed it would take months to get that kind of thing done, but it literally happened in a matter of weeks. So we wound up having enough equity in the house that I could take out more than what I just needed to finish the basement. So I decided that I wanted to build a shipping container home. I'd already built tiny homes on wheels and foundations, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. I guess being crazy is just kind of a part of the mentality at this point. So we took, I think it was about $15,000 we took out of that to use for the container home itself. So we got the container, got everything lined up for that, materials, labor, the whole nine, and used that money to jumpstart building our very first shipping container home that we had in the backyard here for a while, and now it's down in Zions Park as a rental unit. The Instagram account came about because I was trying to find an effective way that was cheap to market what we were doing. I was not a social media expert. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just knew Instagram was relatively new, but it was a great way to kind of get the word out. So I went down that road with social media to showcase what we were building, and then quickly found out that every other builder across the country was in the exact same boat. No one had enough time to do the sales, the marketing, the building, everything. So I decided I would contact all the other builders that we were meeting at shows and see if I could help them do the exact same thing we were trying to do, which is broaden the market, showcase our work to everybody across the country. Out of the 600,000 plus followers we have, almost half are outside of the United States. But we started it just thinking it was one more way to market or advertise, and then it quickly turned into an enormous worldwide movement, literally in a matter of months. It was way quicker than we ever anticipated. For me, I saw an opportunity to help people get what they wanted and what they needed from an affordable housing standpoint, and this was my opportunity to find a way to give back to people all over the country and all over the world, to have an affordable home to live in, which is really rare at this point, especially if you're fresh out of college. It's dang near impossible to find something that you can afford. So for me, it was that moment a couple of months in to say, this is my chance to really make a difference, as opposed to just building and selling homes. it was my chance to make a difference to provide affordable housing for people all over the place.